Good afternoon, LFA family, misfits, all the people up in the chat here. Zach G.A. G.A. Ga. I like it. Yeah, let's do Ga. What's up, T. Hodges, Susan K. Spencer, R. Star, AVC, Michael, Susan, already said that one, Da Patriot. I am your host, Zach Bonfilio, in for Kevin Smith for Loud Majority. And we are going to have a great show today, so strap in. Let's get to it. Trans jihad. That is what they are saying they are going to do now. Who's they? They, them, right? The they, thems. The LGBTQIAP, right? The alphabet mafia is now alphabet Al-Qaeda. So, hey, you know what? Bet. Let's go. I think I got money on us. I'm just saying. Look, I think that this is how it would work out. In case you're of the younger side of the audience, you don't understand what this thumbnail is a reference to. There's a great movie out there called Indiana Jones. Actually, it's several movies. Which one is? I think this one's from the Temple of Doom, I want to say. Or maybe the Raiders. I don't know. It's either Raiders, Temple, or whatever the other one was. Then they did the ones with the aliens, and it was just garbage. But there's this wonderful scene here where Harrison Ford is going up against I don't know what they are. I assume they're some type of Muslim. And if that sounds ignorant, good. But here's the scene, just in case you're wondering. I think that this is how it would go. So if be careful what you wish for. Is all I'm saying. All right. Double dose of Zach. What a day this is. Yes, in the chat. I told my audience, I said, hey, I'm going to be covering for Kevin today. I was covering, I believe it was last week or the week before, I can't remember. And there was, his mom's had some a surgery, and apparently everything. I think it seems like it went well because he's apparently picking her up. So all those prayers that we did, I think those worked. So I'm not saying that I saved Kevin's mom. I'm just saying that maybe we did, right? Because last week I said everybody do the prayer hands, and I think that's what did it. So good job, everybody. Is all I'm saying. Good job. All right. Well, let's get into the actual show. All right. We've had our fun. We will keep having fun, but let's get into the show too. All right. Is Kevin okay? Yes, Kevin's okay in the chat. Prayer hands. There we go. We got more of them. So the way I do things on my show is for the daily breakdown, I just type in the word news, right? And then I break down whatever pops up. But I have a lot of stuff for us today. I think we'll start with the news, and then we will get into the trans jihad. Right here, there's this one, and then there's this one, and there's gonna be more of them, but tell you how you might be able to stop that, right? We'll see. I mean, it's not some crazy plan. It's just buy guns, and then when you see them, just be like, right? I'm not saying shoot them. I'm saying just be ready to. Anyway, all right. Here we go. The Kennedy Center was supposed to close this weekend. Instead, it's selling a $25,000 presidential July 4th package from Axios. Would you look at that? The Kennedy Center, which was planning a July 4th weekend shutdown, is now hosting a high-end fireworks bash with packages topping out at $25,000. Why it matters. Kennedy Center was set to close on July 5th for a 2-year Trump-backed renovation. Instead, the arts venue is throwing an upscale Independence Day party as it warns of a mounting financial crisis. State of play. A federal judge in May blocked the center from closing for a planned $257 million renovation and ordered Trump's name removed from the building. So salty. So salty. The board, by the way, is the one that did that, right? Like the board of the Kennedy Center, a private business, right? I mean, kind of. Not private, really. You know what I mean. But they have a board. They wanted to do that. So, like, people run around acting like Trump put his name on a building. They, like, not really. Like, they did. The board did. And Trump is planning for a renovation because it's infested with rats. It's honestly, it's like you don't even want to go in there. Trump is trying to clean up DC. He's trying to clean up all the historical sites. He's trying to open that little tunnel under that big ass Lincoln statue. And for some reason, the left, these judges and all these, they just, the reflecting pool, they gotta slash it up and throw poop in it so that it grows algae. It's like they hate this country. They hate him so much. They think that he represents the country, so they hate the country. But here's the thing. Here's a little secret. They hated the country before. They hate the country because they hate the country. They're entitled, whiny bitches. That wasn't even a bad swear word, but I'm doing my best. They really do hate. That's all they do. They hate. They don't know how to do anything else but hate. Don't fix things. We can't hate it if it's awesome. But anyway, I mean, instead of going dark, the center is selling premium viewing spots for the National Mall fireworks, where Trump is expected to speak. The $25,000 sponsorship presidential package for up to 36 guests includes premium catering and cocktails. Next tier is 24 guest, $15,000 vice presidential package. And general admission starts at $425. Children's tickets cost $125. Most of the renovations, minus the children's tickets, are tax deductible. The top tier includes charitable contribution, according to the Kennedy Center's tax deductible amount, etc., etc. So there's a whole bunch of fluff and information in here. The moral of the story is, guys, if Trump wants to fix things, let him fix them. Right? Just we're done with tearing down statues. We're done with destroying everything. We're done with mostly peaceful protests. We're done with stepping over homeless people. We're done with poop trackers. We're done with just awful socialist run leadership, because that's what's going on. Have you guys noticed that there is a correlation between the amount of, I guess you could say, feces and needles and crime and homeless and everything with who runs those cities? It's not hard to figure out. Like, I think it's like 19 of the top 20 most dangerous cities in the country are ran by Democrats. Democrat mayors. But red states. Yeah, but the rest of the state doesn't suck. You're literally offsetting the entire state. That's why the state statistic is bad, because of your cities. No, if you isolate where the crime is happening, where the homeless is happening, where the poverty is happening, where the high gas price is happening, where, it's always local. Politics is local, right? And cause and effect is local. You want a very small federal government if you're like me. You want a very small federal government, right? That's not no government. That doesn't mean we don't want that doesn't mean we don't want people to run stuff. We don't want people to manage. We want elected representatives, but we don't want like socialist dictators. Like, you got Mom Donnie right now telling people turn your AC to 78 degrees. Hey, screw you, dude. Hey, you know what? Actually, naughty button. F you. 78? Might as well just go outside. What are you talking about, 78? I've never even turned my... I didn't even know it went up that high. The air conditioning? You mean the cool side? Are you talking about heat? Like, if you're talking about heat, I think it goes up to 78. I didn't know the cool went up to 78. I figured Freon wouldn't even work there. Might as well turn it off. There is a 78. Again, look at who's leading these places. It's not Trump. Who is in the World Cup of round 16? I don't care, but probably somebody in here does. So we'll read it. I honestly, I've never liked soccer. I don't know. I'm not even a huge fan of sports. I like football. I like baseball. Kind of like hockey. But I mean, like, not even really hockey that much. Like, I mean, I don't know. And I don't even like baseball. It's pretty much just football. I'll watch football. I won't find out who plays. Like I used to have people come up to me all the time because I'm from Boston and we're a sports place, we're a sports city, you know. So I'd have like a Red Sox hat on when I moved to Texas, right? And I had this Red Sox hat, and some guy would come up and be like, "Hey, did you hear about Podrosky or Montahania?" And I'm like, "I've no idea who you're talking about." And they'd be like, "Yeah, you know the third baseman." I'll be like, "No, it's a hat. It's a hat. I'm wearing this. I'm wearing this. I don't work for TPUSA. I don't. I'm wearing the Freedom hat." There are people that are obsessed with sports. And you know what? If you guys follow my Friday show, we have like this thing called Fan Mail Friday where my haters will they'll send me hate mail. And it's so funny how many of the people that send really like the meanest stuff, their whole pages is just sports. It's like they're just obsessed with sports. I'm pretty sure there's a correlation there between sports and whether or not you're a psycho. But anyway, let's get to this story. I know, I heard USA won last night. Okay, but let's read this from MSN. The 2026 FIFA World Cup round 16 is already taking shape, with 8 teams having secured their spots. The early knockout matches have highlighted just how unpredictable these do or die games can be, showing that no team holds a clear advantage. Canada made history as the first nation to claim a spot, defeating South Africa. Round 32. Can you just give me a list, guy? You asked the headline was who's in the World Cup. Just tell me a list. There we go. Finally. Sheesh. The teams that have booked their place in round 16: Canada, Brazil, Paraguay, Morocco, Norway, France, Mexico, England, Belgium, and the United States of Freedom. For now. So this is the schedule. All right, so Saturday you got Canada versus Morocco, Paraguay versus France. Sunday, Brazil, Norway, Mexico, England. Monday, winner of Portugal, Croatia. Okay, who cares? Versus the United States versus Belgium. Okay, so that's all I needed to know. When are we playing? I don't care about the rest of this stuff. All right, but there you go. That's the schedule. United States plays on Monday. That's all you needed to know. Next story. Zach, do you have a really mean file? What is that? I can't see you under my cup. The lowest, Zach, do you have a really, I'm going to read this here. Zach, do you have a really mean file? Like the lowest low scum of the earth file? Do I have a file on people? I don't care enough about people to have a file on them. I get what I think I understand what you're saying, right? But I would never, ever put any amount of energy into people that I dislike other than tweeting. Like I might tweet them, but I do that for content. It's for me. It's not for them. This is a funny story. Last week, I think I made this kid cry. last week I'm working in this bathroom. I'm doing this shower, and I got a call from a private number. And because I've done this for so long, I've had so many stalkers and haters and everything like that. So private number, I'm already on edge when I answer it, right? But because I run my own business, I kind of have to answer it. So I answer it. And these people think that they're clever and slick, right? So they go, "Hi, is this Zach?" And I go, "Yes." And they go, "Yes, do you do tile?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do." Now, I already know that person is one of my stalkers. It's from the internet. It's not a real customer. Here's why. A real customer would never say, "Is this Zach?" right? They would say, "Is this American Tile and Remodeling?" Which is the name of my company, right? They wouldn't say, "Is this Zach?" It's just not something anybody would say, right? Um, but and then, do you do tile? Anybody who's calling for a remodeling job, right? Companies called American Tile. Yeah. Yeah. So I already knew that it was one of them, but I played along for a few seconds. I go, yes, yes, I do. And they go, okay, well, what's it like to support genocide? And I'm like, so anyway, first words out of my mouth was, did you call me? Like, did you do that? And like they go, yeah, what do you I go, do you call I go, you called I go, you called me. I go, you found my number, put it in your phone, pressed send, and called me. I go, what's that like? And I said it just like that. I go, what's it like to have such little self-control where I own your headspace where you went out and you called me? And I said, I would never call you. I go, I don't care what your name is. I don't care who you are. I don't care. I would never spend that much energy calling you. And then in the background, he's just like, genocide for Palestine, genocide for Palestine. And I'm like, I own you. This is what I just kept repeating. I go, I own your life. I go, I own your life. I own your life. I own your life. I go, you are my slave. I could literally tell you right now what to do. You would do it. Right. And he hung up. And I think he was crying when he hung up because it's so true. Right. You give people power over you when you go out of your way to let them know you exist, right? I don't need anyone to know, right? I don't need to. But I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but no, I don't collect information. I actually used to. I used to do it when I first started. I was like, this is all the videos of this person being a bad person. I'm like, they're going to suck. They're going to do what they're going to do. I don't care. I'll expose them when it comes across my feed, if I can use it for content and I can, whatever. But as far as I'm concerned, all these people can die tomorrow, and there's still going to be bad people in the world. So it's like whatever. We expose the ones that make the headlines because it's important to inform other people that they exist. We don't make it personal. We just don't make it personal. If I made it personal, I'd be in a corner in the fetal position crying all day about how bad the world is. I already know the world's bad. Anyway, next story. We'll do a couple of more, and then we got a lot to get to with trans jihad. Kylie Kelsey. Whoa, wait a minute. I don't know who this is. Kylie Kelsey, the not gonna lie pause. Oh, this is Jason Kelsey's wife. Okay. Kylie Kelsey explains why under no circumstances will she wear a string bikini ever again. Okay. Who is she? Is she a soccer player? Kylie Kelsey shared her preference for full coverage swimsuits postpartum. Oh my, I don't care. This is not news. Why are we doing this? Who cares? Who cares? Do you guys think this is news, by the way? Like, does anybody else get mad when you see a story like this? You're like, oh, what's this about? And it's a dude who's a sports player's wife explaining to a journalist why she isn't going to wear a certain type of bathing suit because she had a kid. And the whole time I'm reading it, I'm like, is there something here? No, that's just it. The hell is going on here? All right, Russia. I guess Russia would be the only real news story. Oh wait, what's this? Breakaway Catholic group excommunicated after defying warnings from Pope Leo. Ooh, what are they gonna do? Like, what happens when you're excommunicated? By the way, like, if you walk into a church, are you on like a list? I always thought that's funny. I used to be a Catholic. I don't think of myself as a Catholic anymore because of all the man-made rules, right? It's like these aren't. It's like I don't know. You guys can tell me if you agree or disagree. And I know that there are great Catholics. My whole family's Catholic. I was raised Catholic. Went to Catholic church. Went to Catholic school. not Catholic school. I went to CCD, which is like Sunday school for Catholics. I was in a Catholic youth group. I went to Rome and I saw the Pope in 2000 as a Catholic. I've done the rosary thing and eaten the bread and the stale crackers and everything like that. And then I got older and I moved away from um I moved away from my faith. Not I didn't leave my faith. I just sort of like, like most people do. You stop going to church, you stop praying and everything like that. And when I jumped back into my faith about 4 years ago, right? Like I said, I never really left. I just sort of jumped back in. It was because my friend was going to a non-denominational church down here, and one day I was like, "Can I come with you?" Right? And I loved it. I like loved it. It's like so great. It's not like necessarily a mega church. Yeah, it's kind of a mega church. It has like 3,500 seats in it, but it's a community Bible church, right? So it's not like one of those ones where they ask you for money or do anything. But yeah, it's like a non-denominational community Bible church. But I thought it was great. So I was like, "Oh, I like this." And I was like, "Wait a minute." I go, "There are churches like this?" I go, "My church sucked." I was like, I mean, no offense, like, but honestly, like, it's like the the like cult, like, I don't know, I don't want to, I'm trying not to go to hell with what I say next, but you know what I mean. It's like, okay, collection plate, big dude in a robe holds up a golden chalice, can barely hear what he's saying, not motivating really. You sing a little bit, and nobody's good at it, and then you just leave, and you go, "All right, we did that." It almost feels, but I was like, it's not fun. I don't think a lot of people have fun in church, or they feel like they learned a lot in church. So I was like, oh, this church, it's like I was paying attention the whole time. It was, but the pastor's great, and I was like, oh, I go, does that mean I'm not a Catholic? And then I was like, oh, so then October 7th happens. We start getting into the whole woke right, the rise of the woke Reich. And everybody told me, because I would say, I'm like, oh, I'm a Catholic. Everybody told me I wasn't one. I was like, oh, you don't get to do that. It's like, you don't get to tell me. They're like, no, 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 Catholics don't believe in dispensationalism. And I'm like, that's a lot. That's a big word, and I don't care what it means. I was like, I'll tell you what, I don't hate Jews. Neither does anybody in my family. Neither does anybody in my town. I go, so if you're saying that Catholics hate Jews, I go, I think you're wrong. They are, by the way. But no, the more I looked into it, the more I was like, you know what? There are a lot of weird rules in this religion, or this denomination. Sorry. And now I just don't know. Now I really just don't know, and I honestly don't care. Right? I do the hello Jesus, let's talk, um, and I think that's better. So, and I read the Bible now. Like I didn't even read the Bible when I went to church. I'm like, that's what the priest is for. Like now I don't read. Now I'm like, oh, I gotta read the Bible because I gotta know what Ed's talking about. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? I think it makes sense. Makes sense in my head, so you guys better get on board. Anyway, focus on Jesus. Exactly. See, you guys do get it. You get it in the chat. Focus on Jesus. Don't focus on whether or not you will be judged in the community or excommunicated. I don't think you can be excommunicated from Christianity. Like, if I did something wrong, I don't think, like, Pastor Ed would be like, hey, man, I talked to all the other people in the not denomination, and you're not allowed in this not denomination. It's like, what do you mean? Okay. All right, so which one do I go to? None. You just know. None. You got nowhere. You got nowhere to go. The Pope excommunicated some people. Who the hell is he? He was picked by people. He was picked by people. It's like, that's a political system. That doesn't seem like a holy system. It seems like a political system. I hope I'm not like shitting on Catholics in here, because I'm not. Like I said, I am one. My whole family is one. I love them. I just don't feel like one anymore. So, I mean, I guess according to the church, I'm a Catholic until they do this to me. So I'm gonna wait for my letter. I'm gonna wait for my letter. I'm gonna wait for my letter. If anybody wants to let the Pope know I'm not doing a good job, then I love the Jews. I love the Jews. I'm sticking to it. Israel has a right to exist. I'm sticking to it. All right, I'm having too much fun. I'm having too much fun. Can't have too much fun. Gotta balance the fun. All right, this is the only other story I think that is actually considered news. All right. Russia unleashes a massive assault on Ukraine's capital, killing more than a dozen. I am not downplaying this at all, not one bit. I am not downplaying it. That's not massive, right? That's not massive by any stretch of the imagination. That is not massive. Okay? Let's just get that out of the way. And the reason why I say that is because this is clickbait, right? There are about 7,000 people that die in this war every week. That's massive. That's massive. Yes. That happens every week. Nobody calls it a genocide. There's been more civilians killed in this war than in the Israel-Gaza conflict. There's been more people killed, more civilians killed in this war. I didn't say people, I said civilians. Innocent civilians. More in the Ukraine-Russia war than in the Israel-Gaza conflict. But nobody calls it a genocide. But when 12, more than a dozen people die, all of a sudden it's a story. I'm just saying, why isn't there consistency? Because it's all political. That's the reason. It's all political. There must be a reason why right now CNN wants you to feel something about this war. I have no idea what that reason is. I'm not like a crazy conspiracy theorist, right? Fake news is just fake news. Everyone knows they do this. There's always an agenda. There's always a reason. It's terrible. It's terrible, but 18 people is not massive. It's just not. In a war, it's not. Running after explosion that rocked their Kyiv apartment. One of the many. Yeah, and by the way, how many people died? Did anybody die in the Moscow attack a couple of weeks ago when Candace Owens was there? Like, did anybody die in that? Because in the middle of a city, they blew up an oil tanker, and there wasn't some crazy headline like about the civilians. This is what I'm saying. It's just I hate the news. I read it every day. I read it every day, and I hate it. All right. I think you guys get my point. This is terrible, but this is war. I wish they would just end this war. I wish they would end all wars. Let's do love and peace and all that stuff. All right. Enough with that. Enough with the daily breakdown. Let's get into the meat and potatoes for the second half of this hour. All right. Let's start with the actual headline story. Okay. This is Wisconsin Democrat staffer Tiha Delarululi. And he. I was like, wait, what? What is it? All right. He is calling on activists to kill your local Republican. We're going to make this a moderate position for the state of Wisconsin. Okay, let's see here. Yeah.
Hey.
Let's start. Let's do that one more time. Sounds like Sloth from the Goonies when he was about to. One more.
T7T here, and we're going to make this the moderate position for the state of Wisconsin, but I need your help because we have 1 month to do this. So let's do it.
I was less creeped out by Chunk, or Sloth from the Goonies. Hey. All right, this one's a little worse. Here, same thing. Not the same. It's not the same thing. It's the same thing. It's that thing, and it's the same thing, right? We're going to do trans jihad. All right, just quick reminder. This is how it works out, all right? But they're going to do it anyway. Okay, so. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. Oh, I can't wait for this one.
Tempte here, and just a reminder, we are doing Trans Jihad, and this is something everybody can actually kind of partake in a little bit here because it's about making the oppressor the big.
If everybody can partake in it, I can too. Okay. Here, wait. Which one do I want? There are a few options here. Little guy? Should we do the little guy?
Bigots, the animals that make up MAGA, for example, right? So for decades, everyone else, all the marginalized, in-house, minorities, we've had to be the ones that walk down the streets with anxiety, with fear, but no more, no more, folks. We're gonna do the reverse. We're gonna make it so that they will be the ones that have to walk down the streets in fear, and anxiety, and worry.
We're so not gonna do that. So not gonna do that. Look, I mean, all right. Look, I guess you could call what I do on a daily basis like fear, right? Like you could say it like that. I've been training with firearms for years and years, right? I have mastered situational awareness, right? When I walk my dog, I'm looking at everybody, right? I'm always carrying, I'm always ready, right? And some people think that that's fear. I call it preparedness, right? I don't feel afraid when I'm doing it, but you could call it that, right? So I'll tell you what, sloth. You win. Okay, well, fine. But I was already doing that, right? If you think there are going to be some people who, because you are walking around, if they see you, because now you've become terrorists, essentially, right? If that's what you want, right? Because that's what this is. This is an admission of terrorism. Because what is terrorism? Terrorism is ruling through fear. It's essentially using fear as an objective to achieve your political goals. So this is an admission from their side that what they want is to be terrorists because they feel like we have terrorized them. Okay. Now I'm not gonna be scared, but I am gonna be prepared, right? So if I see a trans person, right, moving forward, I mean, I've already kind of done this, right? I made this decision a long time ago. But if I see a trans person, I'm going to accept that there is a likelihood that there is a non-zero chance, right? Or let's call it the threat assessment, right? There's color codes for threat assessment in situational awareness. And when you see somebody, let's say you see somebody really shady, like let's say you see a homeless person in a what's it, a trench coat with nothing else, right? And they look really dirty and they're like, right? And you're walking down the street, right? Most people's threat level goes from like a white, well, you shouldn't even be in a white, but like a yellow to an orange, right? And you'd be like, okay, I'm heightened situational awareness. I'm making a plan to retreat. I'm getting ready for something that might happen. Okay, right? So now you can call that fear. I'll call it preparedness, right? My color code for you, right, has always been somewhere in the yellow, right? Now it's always going to be orange. And I'm always going to be ready, right? When I'm walking my dog, or when I'm walking outside, or when I'm just anywhere in the world. And by the way, you're not camouflage. You're not camouflage. You look like you look, okay? You don't look like a woman. You look like a man trying to look like a woman. There are very, very few trans people out there that trick anyone. Like the one that clavicular just made out with the other night, even I was like, damn, but they're rare. All right? Most of them look like you. And I know exactly, from 50 to 100 feet away, I know what you are. All right, so we are now raising your color code for threat assessment and situational awareness. And sure, okay, so you have heightened my quote fear. So you win. That's not good for you. Okay? There's so many people out there like me, right? You're 1% of the population. My little club, right? My little club of gun owners, way bigger. Way bigger. So much bigger, actually. It's you are it's not even close. But continue with your 10 seconds of talkie time.
And we're not gonna make this like, oh, they gotta do this for like a week or something, where they get really scared. No, this is their new reality. And it's never gonna change. Peace.
Okay, I have a feeling it will. I have a feeling I have a feeling we'll get back to a baseline after some of you around and find out. All right, because I think that you think that you're in some like weird reality that isn't actual reality, where you're gonna like do something like a mass shooting, and then the rest of us are gonna go, oh, we're gonna be like, all right, let's go. I think it's time. There are people like me that have been waiting for the boogaloo for a very long time. We have not been waiting in fear. We have been waiting in excitement. Right? So this is the thing that you just saw. Fired trans Dem campaigner calls on followers to kill your local Republican and vows trans jihad. Transgender activist can volunteer for a look at that. It's always Democratic candidate, huh? Always the Democrats. Yeah, always. I mean, we have Bruce Jenner, but Bruce Jenner is he's still kind of weird, and we don't use him. Congressional candidate in Wisconsin called for deadly violence against Republicans. We already saw that. Sits in front of a dry erase board. We already saw that. Any other news in here? No, this is pretty much just a synopsis of the thing we just saw. There's the other one. All right. In an equally deranged Substack post, Deb bemoans what he calls an ongoing genocide against trans and queer folk. Say the only way to meet this is to wage war. So yeah, okay. I mean, can we just do just this like with just us two now? Can we do this? I'm down for this. I'll volunteer for this, right? This will be fun. We have mutual combat in Texas. So let's just do this part. I think that's better. Look, if anybody wants to hook that up, I'm down. I will sign the paper. All right. You and me, you get your swords. Bang. I think you get my point. I think you get my point. They're trying to scare you, and you shouldn't be scared. That's my whole point for that whole segment. You know, look, these people, they are literally trying to terrorize you. And the only way that you deal with terrorists is you don't be afraid of them. You fight back. And look, I mean, that might mean that you have to heighten your situational awareness, but you don't, you should teach your children to be scared of them. You shouldn't be scared of them, right? But you should teach your children, stay away. They're like exactly like a dude in a naked homeless dude in a trench coat. Okay, teach your kids about trans people the way you teach them about like a hot stove now. Okay, like they should be quote afraid of the hot stove because it can hurt them. That's what they're saying. They're doing this to themselves. If they've left everybody alone and just stayed with the To Wong Fu, Patrick Swayze, and Wesley Snipes version of whatever that was, a lot of people were like, they're kind of fun, right? It's not my thing, but they're kind of fun, right? They aren't doing that anymore. They aren't sassy and like fun. They're not singing show tunes and stuff. They're trying to kill you now. So it's like, okay, it's like, all right, we kind of like, we were kind of cool with it up until you ruined it. All right, I'm thinking now we gotta fight back, and not gonna go your way. All right. Anyway, this other story, trans terror plot reveals sinister threats years before the Vegas not shooting, arrest. So if you guys haven't heard, there was a terror plotter, a transgender terror plotter, planned a massacre at a Las Vegas casino. Didn't pull it off, thankfully. Allison Howlett, a man, right? Born a male, but lives as a woman. No. Born a man, but lives as a man trying to be a woman, was arrested Sunday with a massive cache of guns and ammo in a casino parking garage in Henderson, just outside of Las Vegas. Suspect's former spouse called the police to report that Howlett intended to commit a suicide by cop or carry out a mass shooting. Thankfully, honestly, we keep hearing this. We keep hearing about people that are close to these crazy people, turning them in. And honestly, I don't think that's being talked about enough, right? Like the Freedom 250 event, the terror act, they were going to do that, by the way. The Freedom 250 terror plot was going to happen, right? How far they would have got and how effective it was, that's up in the air. But they were doing it. They weren't just in a group chat talking. They were planning, and they were traveling, and they were They were going to do that. For the Freedom 250 event, the UFC event, they were going to fly drones into buildings, and they were going to set up kill boxes where they could shoot innocent people a couple of weeks ago. It was one of the kids' mothers who turned them in, and that's how it stopped. Just like this was stopped because a former spouse for this crazy person called in and ratted them out. I think that there are people around these people that are slowly realizing, shit, we fucked up. We've been enabling this for so long, because I bet you the same person that called the police and that same mother who called the police was an enabler up until they realized that there are going to be tens, maybe hundreds of dead people, and it's going to be their fault because they enable them. They've enabled them for years. So I want to give credit to them, and because I want them to realize that we realize that. And we think that we should encourage more of them to do that, because we're not in those circles, right? We're not in those circles. We don't know what's going on over in their little world, right? And we shouldn't. I don't want to be in there. I don't want to go undercover in that scene. I don't know about you. But no, I think that that's something that hasn't been highlighted enough, right? This is a quote from the thing, Howlett. I swear to God, if the FBI doesn't come effing arrest me, there's going to be an effing mass shooting. Howlett's heard in the recording. This is back in 2024. It's 2 years ago, right? Again, whoever let it get this far, right? Because look, you can't arrest people over words, right? But that seems like something where we should have probably it should have maybe been on a list, maybe. You know, I brought this up in my earlier show today, right? Who knows what a 4473 form is, right? This is when you go and you pick up a gun. You have to fill out this form. Okay, most gun owners are kind of okay with this. All right, I'm a 2A absolutist. I think you should just be able to go up and buy a gun, right? I think that you should go up and buy a gun. I don't think that you should have any restrictions. I don't think you should have any waiting periods. However, I kind of do understand the concept of trying to make sure you're not selling guns to people who shouldn't have them. But the problem is when you're a 2A absolutist, you think everybody should have them, which I do, right? But there's a caveat, okay? If this exists, it's got to exist for everybody. And if this exists, we got to play by their rules. All right? So that's my caveat, right? I don't like it, but if it exists, right? Until you tell me that we can put a gun in the hand of every man, woman, and child where it's an even playing field, wild, wild west style, right? Where there's no restrictions, right? Because the Second Amendment says everybody has the right to bear arms. Until you do that, if you're going to put this form on there, then you better add something to it. All right? Because right here on this form, there is a questionnaire, and question 31 says, have you ever been adjudicated as mental defective, or have you been committed to a mental institution? Right? All that person has to do is check no, right? There's no verification process. But it says see definitions 12 and 13. Let's go to definitions, okay? Right here, definitions 12 and 13. Adjudicated as adjudicated as a mental defective, okay? Determination by a court, commission, or other lawful authority, right, that a person, as a result of mental illness, marked subnormal intelligence, incompetency, condition, or disease, right, is a danger to himself or others, or lacks the mental capacity to contract or manage his own affairs. Now, this has to be adjudicated in a court. I think you need to, A, make every FFL, every person that sells a gun, every firearms licensee, right? You make them an authority on the spot, right? Where they can go, all right, this person's crazy. I'm not selling to you. You're crazy, right? And, or, right? Add in, under 31, you add in subsection 31, subsection 2. Are you trans? Right? Yes or no? Make that a box. Are you trans? Because if the answer is yes, you can't have a gun. See definitions 12 and 13, right? Because as anybody who isn't mentally ill knows, right? See definitions 12 and 13. Trans is a mental illness. It's not only a mental illness, it is a mental illness where, in definitions 12 and 13, you are a danger to yourself or others. Yourself because you have gender dysphoria, right? You will literally cut your own body parts off. You will give yourself or your children chemical castration drugs, right? You're a danger to yourself or others. Subnormal intelligence, I think that applies as well. Mental capacity to contract or manage your own affairs. I think all of these apply. So I think you can adjudicate this at the counter. And if you say, I'm not trans, and you look trans, I think the person behind the counter could be like, hey, I noticed you didn't check that. And I noticed you said you're not, right? Are you? I mean, it would be the same thing as somebody checking off white, right? Like, you see how it says race right here? If Wesley Snipes checked off white, the person behind the counter would be like, bro, no, you're not, right? Why, you're lying on a federal form. Like, no, I am white. I identify as white. You're not, though. All right. I think that's a solution. At least it's not a perfect solution, but if we play by their rules, right? The people who want to restrict, the people who want to keep guns out of the hands of dangerous people made this form, right? And if they made this form, let's fucking use it, okay? Just add that, right? ATF, get on it. 31 subsection 2. Are you trans? Make every FFL a lawful authority, right? Where they can decide whether or not they sell to somebody based on, what they believe to be an adjudication of mental illness. Cool. Done. Right? Oh, but then they're going to use it against you, man. If they see you in a MAGA hat, they're not going to sell to you. And be like, okay, well, you can take that to court, right? Because I can go to court and I can sue them and I can prove that me wearing the MAGA hat is not a mental illness. Can they do the same thing? Because I can get a psychiatrist up there that says, yeah, it is. It's not a perfect solution. I'm just saying. Doing nothing isn't working. All right. So here's the picture of all of the guns that the crazy person had that was going to do the mass shooting in Vegas, right? And I got to say, I'm impressed. Right? I'm not going to lie. It's a lot of nice guns. Some of these are worth tens of thousands of dollars. Like the M2. I don't know what the hell that's doing there. I thought I had a... Did I have the slide pulled up for this? No. Oh, I must have deleted that earlier. That right there, that's a $17,000 if it's the kit gun, right? If it's the kit gun, it's a $17,000 gun. The one right here in the bottom corner, that's like a $20,000 gun. There's a few guns in here that are worth a lot of money. So obviously the people are coming out with their conspiracy theories like the government, man, the government's doing it. Sure, maybe, or I have a $7,000 SCAR out there. I have a $1,500 handgun. I probably have about $100,000+ worth of guns in this apartment. Some people just buy a bunch of guns and they figure out how to get the money. I don't know. You don't know this person. They might have rich parents, right? I don't know, but I am impressed. I honestly, I'm not joking. I'm impressed with the selection. Great taste. Great taste. You're a crazy person, but that's great. You have great taste in guns. And here's the video of them getting arrested.
Dispatchers received a call regarding a domestic dispute. The caller advised that her ex-spouse, Allison Howlett, had stolen her car and that the vehicle...
Something just happened. Check.
...was loaded with numerous...
That's all of a sudden coming out of my... speakers. Whoops. Technical difficulties again. Jeez. What just happened? All of a sudden, the output started coming out of my...
firearms.
There we go.
The caller said the suspect made threats indicating she intended to commit suicide by cop and...
This is another problem, guys. We're never going to get past this problem if every time we have a fucking press conference, you guys say the wrong thing. All right? He has a DIC. You get it? He. The fuck, dude. He. It's a man. Try again.
911 dispatchers received a call regarding a domestic dispute. The caller advised that her ex-spouse, Allison Howlett, had stolen her car and that the vehicle was loaded with numerous firearms. The caller said the suspect made threats indicating she intended to commit suicide by cop and carry out a mass shooting. At around 11:17 a.m., with the assistance of our partners at Sunset Station Casino Security, Henderson police officers were able to locate the vehicle in the parking garage of the casino. The suspect was inside the vehicle with the music playing loudly, refusing officers' commands to exit the vehicle. Officers were eventually able to establish communication and convince her to roll down her window. Officers were
his window. That's a man, baby. I am screaming. I put soundproofing on this wall for this reason, because my neighbor would probably be going like, what the fuck is going on over there?
Then able to remove her from the vehicle, distancing her from the firearm inside and were able to successfully take her into custody. It should be noted that the suspect
Hurt her balls?
had been sitting on a handgun and had access to a fully automatic, silenced MP5
I like that. That's an MP5. Oh. God, you know, such good taste.
style machine gun in the backseat of the vehicle.
And inside that vehicle, investigators recovered 22 firearms and
That's honestly what it looks like when I go to the range, so.
hundreds of rounds of ammunition. Our team also moved forward with executing a search warrant on the suspect's residence in Henderson. Inside that location, investigators recovered 30 firearms. These are additional to the ones that were recovered in the vehicle. And in these firearms,
What are you going to do with those? Because, I mean, I need, like, is there an auction? Because, I mean, like, I got some money.
are automatic weapons, an M250 caliber firearm, 2 Colt AR-style rifles with attached M203 grenade launchers, 7 suppressors, and
How did you get a grenade launcher? Who is your contact?
thousands of rounds of ammunition.
Anyway, other than that awesome like selection, yeah, that's a crazy person who was about to commit a mass murder. So, good thing they didn't. Freaking insane, man. All right. Speaking of trans, let's end this show on a hilarious note. I don't know if you guys seen what Owen Schroyer did to himself. That's real. That's a real photo. That's a screenshot that I took from his page that he posted. He posted a video of himself, and I was like, that can't be real. And then I realized it was his page. That is real. Owen did that to himself. So, any minute now, he's going to be transitioning. Anyway, yeah, no, I didn't hear this anywhere. I made it up. So if you hear anybody say it, you better tell them to credit the original person. That is Elliot DeGeneres. All right? There was Ellen Page. Now it's Elliot Page. There was Ellen DeGeneres. Now it's Elliot. That's Elliot. That's Elliot. That's look at this. Look at this. Oh my God, dude. TDS really does do this to people. It really does. Owen got some TDS and he looks like that chick that debated Charlie Kirk. It's like, wow, bro, what in the hell is going on? That's real. That's a real thing. Anyway, great job, Elliot. All right, let's do 59. Let's do some shout outs and we'll get you guys out of here. I still, between 2 shows, didn't get through all of my slides. But there it is, 3 o'clock. So real quick, C. Michaels, Chicky Mama, R Star, Bucky Wee, Shaken, arguing. So like that's a hater. Stupid. All right. Anyway, I don't know who's coming up next because this isn't my normal hour, but enjoy whoever it is. So I will see you tomorrow on the Daily Breakdown for Fan Mail Friday. Peace out.